Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. I think the Democrats are completely collapsing under the weight of their own insanity. And in a way, it's kind of hilarious to watch. These people have had every chance to recalibrate after their humiliating 2024 loss, and really the writing's been on the wall since well before that. Maybe to sit down and reflect why they lost the Hispanic voters, why suburban moms abandoned them, why their approval is sitting at a laughable 21% in Congress. But nope. Instead, they're doubling down on every bit of the woke lunacy that got them in the current position in the first place. It's mind-boggling. They still think that forcing people to say Latinx, ooh, Latinx, I'm not a Hispanic, I'm a Latinxes. They still think that that's good strategy, even though Hispanics absolutely hate it. They still think calling pregnant women birthing people is a totally normal thing. They still want to live in this world of make-believe where they pretend that men can get pregnant, that tampons need to be stocked in the men's bathrooms, and that men should be competing in women's sports, and that if you have a problem with this, you're a hateful bigot who deserves to be excommunicated from society. It's pure insanity. And obviously, this woke nonsense is the reason the Democrat Party is in the dumpster, and really it seems as though they were forced with their backs against the wall, forced to have to make a tough decision to drop the woke crap. But it seems as though the Democrats have made their decision. They're doubling down on this insane garbage. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that in this moment that I think really reflects that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Okay, so just when you thought these Democrats couldn't be bigger, woke crybabies, well, here's the perfect representation of the absolute clown show that is the Democrat Party. I have a video here of a Republican congresswoman in New Hampshire giving a speech on the House floor on this issue, calmly laying out reality in my view, and the Democrats lose their damn minds, throwing a hysterical tantrum, storm out of the frickin' building like whiny children, and prove once again that they can't even handle basic conversation.
But what is parity? Is it the equal opportunity to speak up for yourself, your safety, your emotional needs? Or is parity the erasing of women, women's spaces, women's sports, and women's voices? Women thought that the kind thing to do was to make space and hold their tongues, but rather than finding a tolerable compromise, they were pushed another foot for every inch they gave. They had to violate their boundaries and yield to men and their self-esteem while forsaking their own. Women were on a path to become history, not to make history. 114 years ago, women across the nation let the women working in garment shops know they were not alone, that they need not be silent, that they need not accept danger just to make men more comfortable. We have a choice to make. Our children and grandchildren are watching.
The member will suspend. The motion before us is withdrawing consent for Representative Leon to continue speaking. 171 voting yea, 89 voting nay, the motion passes. The House will be in order, damn it. Enough. Now let her speak.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I was saying, the women working in the garment shops
were placed in danger by the men who owned and operated those garment shops. Now we have a choice to make. Our children and grandchildren are watching. They're dying because of you!
This right here is why they lost. This woke, puritanical nonsense is eating their party alive, and they clearly can't see it. No one is with them on this. No one. The average American is horrified by what the left has become. And instead of adjusting to reality, they just scream louder and call everybody a Nazi. It's pathetic. I mean, even Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to pivot on this issue. Gavin Newsom, of all people. The same guy who let California descend into unlivable, lawless disaster. The same guy who's been pushing all of this woke nonsense for years. Now he's suddenly backtracking on the transport issue because clearly he sees it for what it really is. It's political seppuku. And in a way, as much as it pains me to say this, he's even showing a little bit of courageous leadership on the issue.
Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that. There's also a humility and a grace that these poor people are more likely to commit. I'd have anxiety and depression. And the way that people talk down to vulnerable communities is an issue that I have a hard time with as well. So both things I can hold in my hand. How can we address this issue with the kind of decency that I think, is inherent in you, but not always expressed? You said 2020 is when you started to see the Democrats sort of advanced this notion of wokeism.
It's when the awakening
really started. What was it?
You know what I'm talking about.
No, but so is it the Latinx stuff? Not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
but where did that even
No
go?
more Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about? Was it the pronouns? Once you'd think California invented the frame of the pronoun. I had one meeting where people started going around the table of pronouns. One. There's been a hell of a lot of days between 2020 and today, and one meeting. So it's not like this is, I'm like, what the hell why is this the biggest issue?
Well, in corporate America, it's everywhere.
Okay,
just, you know,
all right. But
and college campuses.
It must college. See, that's where you reside a lot in the college campus.
So you got to defund these schools if they're doing the pronouns. You got to like
Jesus. Okay.
And now what do you think's happening? Yeah, the leftist hive mind is turning on him. They're eating him alive, which I'm not exactly angry over because, well, he deserves it probably more than anyone. His political career should have been done a long time ago. But regardless of that, the dynamic is what's important here. You have somebody who inserts common sense into the conversation and says, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And the Democrat base and even other politicians start acting like a bunch of rabid hyenas, ready to bite your freaking ankles off. It's so unbelievable. The Democrat Party has built this insane ideological purity test where even the slightest of deviation from the most deranged, extreme leftist views get you labeled a traitor and exiled from the cult. The optics are so bad and they don't even realize it. I mean, the way that these people act, the theatrics, the drama of it all, talking about genocide, pretending as if it's an existential issue, the way they lose their freaking minds, turn violent, turn purple in the face, start protesting and storming out of the building. It just doesn't seem proper for the moment. You know, it'd be one thing if Democrats had an actual issue that was existential, but in this case, they don't. Not even close. Almost nobody agrees with them. Only the most fervent of leftists ideologues are on board with this stuff. The majority of the country, a large majority, a super majority of the country, is not okay with men competing in female sports. But if you say that, it's an existential crisis, probably calling for song and dance outside the Capitol. It's just so unbelievably cringe. And it's not just cringe, but the hypocrisy is also kind of unbearable. Because we see these Democrat politicians, the way they're always going on about women's rights, they represent women and everybody else, oh, you're just a bunch of hateful, misogynist bigots. These people parade around in pink suits and the pink hats, screeching about how they're defending women from Donald Trump. But they're the ones erasing women. They're the ones pushing to let men invade women's sports, women's spaces, women's identities. They're the ones telling little girls to just suck it up when a biological male crushes their dreams in competition. They're the ones who want to literally erase womanhood. Womanhood cannot be defined. It's just a feeling.
What is a woman, Jojo?
Well, a woman is whatever. If you feel like you're a woman, then you're a woman. I know I'm a woman.
Say I feel like a woman.
It's not about
No, sorry,
biology.
I'm asking you a
identity.
question.
There's no distinct female identity. You're just a woman if you feel you're a woman. That is gender identity erasure. That is the erasing of womanhood. Yet these people claim to be protecting and fighting for women. It's a complete joke. And they continue to double down on this nonsense. They're storming out of the building at a common sense, mundane speech given by a local Republican. They're turning on Gavin Newsom and pretending as if he's the frickin' Antichrist for admitting the obvious. In other words, the Democrat Party has learned absolutely nothing, and they're going into the 2026 midterm election, I guess still advocating for tampons in the men's bathroom. And who knows, maybe Tim Walz is going to be leading the presidential ticket in 2028. Tim Walz, Tampon Tim 2028, tampons for all. What an absolute farce this party has become. I just hope people can see it. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.